News Radio 690, KTSM, an iHeart radio station.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off at school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
News Radio 690, KTSM El Paso.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. Be a part of the show by calling 915-544-KTSM, 915-544-5876, or comment online on our stream at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. It's 4 p.m. Mountain Time, and that means it's time to talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live, streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages we're up on these days, facebook.com/Talk El Paso, the Talk El Paso channel over on YouTube, Twitter at Talk El Paso, or twitch.tv, Andrew J. Polk, whatever works out best for you to see the show, tune in, chime in, add your 2 cents, anywhere in, around, between all of those possibilities. Well, that's the right place for you to be as we continue doing as we do every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m., talking about the things going on and affecting us here in the borderland. But, of course, a lot more than that today. We still got some specifically local stuff we'll be talking about, as there is some developing things, a lot of news stories, and even some releases we've got out today involving the border security and immigration situation. Yes, both going hand in hand very specifically today, as some cross-border operations being affected by anticipated releases, things like that. We'll get into the details here, but we will be getting into those phone calls as well, because it is Friday, Free for All Friday, one of our most important traditions, at least I think so, when it comes to talking about all the things going on. There's always something left out, or something that we might not get to, might not fully address. So this is the chance for y'all to do that. So we will be taking those comments and calls throughout both hours of the program, as we do on Fridays. So if you're wanting to chime in and add your 2 cents in those ways, like Mondavan Conda already over on the social media, howdy there as well to you over on the Twitch stream specifically. But then also we do have those phone lines already opened, and okay, they just filled up. I mean, we've already had the number on screen. Some of y'all know it already. Not that it's been too much of an issue lately, but we do allow the calls to start gathering about 5 minutes before we get on air, just to forestall the full arms race that we had been having developing. So they just filled up at this point, but we'll be taking them throughout both hours of the show. So one of your better chances to get through is we also have a Marky Mandingo joining us over on the Facebook there. Good afternoon to you as well. So couple of things want to lay out as we are getting into the situations today. A couple of the headlines coming out about CBP pauses Bridge of the Americas cargo operations until further notice. RK News partners at KFOX 14 referring to El Paso's migrant crisis, overflowing shelters, and potential street releases raise alarm. So not a lot of exact numbers here, but I do want to refer to a release that we do have from the regional office for the CBP, Customs and Border Protection. I'll just read this one here, quotes, and this is from the Office of Public Affairs for the El Paso Sector Headquarters. CBP is working according to plan and as part of our standard process to quickly decompress the area along the southwest border and safely and efficiently screen and process migrants to place them in immigration enforcement proceedings consistent with our laws. Those who fail to use one of the many lawful pathways we have expanded will be presumed ineligible for asylum, and if they do not have a basis to remain, will be subject to prompt removal, a 5-year bar on admission, and potential criminal prosecution for unlawful reentry. We encourage migrants to ignore the lies of smugglers and use safe, lawful, and orderly pathways that have been expanded under the Biden administration. So some further information also coming along around them. Again, the decompression area, as that and has already been happening. We've been seeing it in our area. At least that's the information that I'm getting. But they are talking about that in order to process individuals as safely and expeditiously as possible. Unprocessed individuals may be transported via air or ground transportation to other sectors along the southwest border. So sector-to-sector transfers, referring to it there, have been happening and has been happening to our area, but there's more things going on there as well. So specifically when it comes to the releases and those potential street releases we've been talking about since at the very least yesterday, what they have to say on that is that if non-governmental organizations, NGOs, otherwise are over capacity, U.S. Border Patrol coordinates with local governments and cities to identify locations where migrants can conveniently access transportation services or accommodations. So part of what is going on immediately in our area today is we already have some commentary come in, among other things, including some other, let's call them national issue or non-local at the very least, but yeah, it's Friday. We'll get into those as well. Currently, an average of just shy of 1,957 apprehensions a day in the actual, at the El Paso sector. Again, very specifically, and some updated numbers that 140 migrants lost their lives this fiscal year, 58 of those heat-related in our sector, while 504 have been rescued in the same kind of ways. An updated Stash House number as well, and this one is, I mean, none of these numbers are particularly joyful, but this one is surprising to me that there's been this many. I feel like we talk about it most weeks, that there's a release or an enforcement action happening, but 268 Stash Houses in this fiscal year, with about 3,500, just more than migrants rescued from those houses, among other things. So yeah, there's a lot going on in this. And so a couple of those other stories, again, like the one from our news partners at KFOX 14, that the shelter capacity is at concern and at issue, with local officials chiming in on that, since specifically Sacred Heart Church, Rescue Mission El Paso, Opportunity Center for the Homeless, noting that since July, they've been over capacity, leading to some of those situations that we have been, and some people are mentioning on there, including RJ saying about driving down Dyer around noon today and saw migrants walking back and forth, and 6 or 7 younger ones panhandling at Dyer and Sanders, and RJ particularly noting that Biden did this. I mean, the opinions, we'll get into those as well, certainly, but a little bit more on the information. Also, so did not get exact numbers from CBP on this, but what El Paso Matters, their headline noting this today: El Paso scrambling to shelter 700 migrants to avoid Border Patrol releasing them to the streets. So basically, I described this in recent days about that, not exactly handshake agreement, but that's a close enough way to describe it, frankly, between the federal government, the law enforcement agencies active in our area when it comes to, again, border security and immigration, and then the NGOs that are, well, the ones that are the primarily next step, essentially, particularly in our region. And that with that overcapacity, again, El Paso Matters know that the number of people in hotels has remained under 100 until this week, and there are some number increases, as we also have Edgar Ortiz on board with us right now, and that climbed to more than 500 Wednesday and up to 700 by Thursday night. And that is borne out by the numbers over on the El Paso, Texas.gov/migrant-crisis, the Migrant Situational Awareness Dashboard. Yeah, we've been seeing I'm going to disagree slightly with the characterization there by El Paso Matters. We had seen a couple of bumps above 100, but usually then came down within a day or two after that. But right now, 707 in 3 different hotels currently, as noted by the hotels in operation and the OEM migrant hotel operations. The Sun Metro Transportation also up significantly, and the in-custody numbers, the encounter numbers, and the releases by calendar week numbers all trending upwards, including for this week, noted about 5,505 specifically so far. So we are seeing this continued issue and this particular moment of it specifically. At least one other thing I do want to note is also to get a release from CBP about that, yes, the involvement of BORTAC in that fugitive apprehension earlier. And it was, among other things, the BORTAC team and one of their actual service dogs, specifically named, getting the right name of here, Yoda, a 4-year-old Belgian Malinois that was part of the actual apprehension and finding on here. So those are just a couple of things going on here locally today, and I felt very necessary to bring up as we're getting some of this information to our newsroom right before we got on air here. But don't worry, we're still going to do the whole Friday thing, so let's dive right into those phone lines, or mention a couple of the other issues. Buddy Vise, no, Free for All Friday does not mean no local, but we are talking about some here. But it's not a one or the other kind of thing. We just open it up to all subjects, so that would include local if people still want to address that. This is not a scream about your favorite national issue only day kind of thing, though other ones are being brought up, including Buddy Vaya saying, what about Lauren Boebert getting caught vaping in Colorado, and Richard Janicek responding, why vape? It's a decent question myself, I would ask, though it's a different situation overall. But a lot of other conversations going on, including the concepts of money spending on this situation and a lot of other things. So, but let's dive into those phone lines right now before we get through this first segment, as we're getting pretty close anyway. We do have Andrew on the west side here with us right now. Andrew, thanks for joining us.
Yes, live long and prosper, my human friend.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for that, and yourself as well. Certainly. What's on your mind?
Concerning Hunter Biden,
Mm-hmm.
do you know, or does anybody know, if he was actually booked?
You know what? That's a decent question. Of all the legal proceedings going on about that, I have not caught that finer point. So I'll see what I can find, but not sure at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, I have a feeling they let him out on a summons, rather than physically booking him. That's my belief.
So indicted, sure. If you're wondering if there's like a mugshot or anything, I'm not seeing anything on that specifically.
Probably was a summons only. But anyhow, in response to what Frankie was saying, Frankie didn't seem to think it was a big deal about lying on a 4473, but it is, the federal government considers it serious enough to be a felony.
Yeah, I mean, anything, you get something incorrect intentionally, and that's being fairly generous with that phrasing, on that form that anyone who has ever purchased a firearm through an FFL dealer would know that's the form you have to fill out before any transfer can happen. That information then goes, in the NICS instant check system. So you don't, and I feel sometimes I felt like those questions are maybe not entirely intentional, but feel like they're going to be gotcha. Sometimes one of them has been getting more modifications. It's been a minute, so I wouldn't necessarily be 100% on the most current version of the form from, say, this year or recent years. But it talks about illegal drug users, habitual or addicted users of it, that kind of language. And so that is a significant question. And not that I would assume anyone would think that, an official government form, it's fine to be, lie or be incorrect on those intentionally, right? I mean, I don't think anyone would reasonably expected to say that. And it's a federal issue, therefore it's straight to a felony.
Correct. Well, not only did he lie to acquire to get the firearm, he lied on a form. In other words, it's giving a false statement to acquire a firearm and lying on a form that is required to be kept as records by a federal firearms license dealer. And further, he was a person that could not receive a firearm due to his addiction to illegal drugs.
Yeah, I mean, there's sure. There's a philosophical and otherwise legal argument going on right now about, particularly given the increasing prevalence on the state level when it comes to, marijuana is still isn't that, it's either Schedule 1 or Schedule 2. Let me double check that one. High up there in terms of the do not use this or significant penalties will be coming along with it, even though, again, some societal conversations have been changing about that. But federally, ain't nothing changed. And that is, again, we might see action on that, but for the moment, in the circumstances we're talking about here, it has not changed at all.
Correct. Well, it made me laugh the other day because his attorney referred to, he possessed an unloaded gun, and it's not something that is going to be prosecuted or is prosecuted. And then to top it all, Hunter Biden admitted to illegal drug use for a specific number of years in his book, Nice Things or Beautiful Things? Beautiful Things.
Yeah, that sounds right. I will admit I haven't picked it up myself. You're usually not doing too many of these political diatribes, at least they'll become particularly relevant. But let me see about the book title there. But yes, Beautiful Things. You are right. And yes, okay, and to also correct myself, marijuana is a Schedule 1 substance, which, again, important or not, it is up there, right there with heroin, LSD, PCP, and crack cocaine. It's saying that they have no safe accepted medical use in the United States. So, again, you agree with that or not, that is the current status of the, again, federal law on this.
Yes, correct. Oh, also, Kay, I don't know if it came out in your top of the hour break, but KRQE News 13, 5 hours ago, Michelle Lujan Grisham modifies her gun focused public health order, limiting that only to parks, public parks, and playgrounds.
You know what? I don't think, we were doing a few other things here, but they do have the note up there. You are correct about modifying that gun-focused, one way to put it, gun-focused public health order. And so, there was a news conference earlier today, and I don't know if this will really, some action was going to be happening from this, obviously. There's been the TROs and the continuing cases about it, so not at all even a little bit surprising, though it does make me wonder if this is at all intended to try and get around or address some of the points there. But I'll have to delve into the full text of it, as it's not too long, 4 pages, see if we might get a little bit more detail into that in the progression of the show here.
Correct. Well, like I said, a study should be done through her public health department to see what effect on crime these marijuana dispensaries are having. As you know, Governor Grisham, mota is still illegal under federal law.
Yep, no, it super is. And some other, speaking about it, other national issues coming into the concept. If you head north, if you go and purchase anything with certain substances in it, in particularly our immediately local area, the areas in which it is, again, available for state-level legalized retail sale, if you go then north, east, or west with it, you're going to have a bad time when you run into those Border Patrol checkpoints, among other things, because those are federal, and there is no regard for any change of that when it comes. The only reason that this situation even exists has been an arguable permissiveness, because the DEA, if they got a particularly wild hair, could come and crack down on every one of these businesses tomorrow. Now, I'm not expecting they would do that, and frankly, doing that would be, I don't think they got that many dudes required to do that kind of enforcement actions. But it's in the realm of possibility, even if not terrifically likely, and would probably end up with there being quite the backlash the other way if that were to happen that way.
True. Well, Andrew, all I can say is if you and I were to go over, let's say, across the border there to Anthony or wherever they have one of those dispensaries, and we start buying that stuff for recreational use, even if we smoke it over there and don't bring it back, we're going to lose our right to carry or even possess a firearm, period.
Yeah, there are implications with just about anything we do these days, and particularly in areas that are of contest when it comes to the law here. So, fair points we brought up in all of that. And again, we'll keep our eye on the whole New Mexico situation as well.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you as well. Appreciate the point in the call. Have a good one there. And with that, we will go ahead and take that next break right now. Coming out of this break, we will get to more of the comments, commentary, and other things coming online. A lot of people chiming in across our social media and, of course, those phone lines as well. So taking that break right now, coming out of this, we got lines open. So if you want to add your 2 cents, that number to do so is 915-544-5876, 544 KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next week, y'all, it's the Texas Mutual Insurance Company's WorkSafe Texas Summit. Registration is closed, but if you've signed up, make sure that you're ready to go Tuesday, September 19th at the Hotel Paso del Norte in downtown El Paso. The 2.5-hour free event does include a free breakfast, free seminars, parking validation. Make sure that you are headed to there if you are signed up to get all of that safety and compliance information that can help employers protect their workers. You can also get the opportunity to network with other business owners and safety professionals with helpful resources and safety materials provided. So if you missed all your details, go to texasmutual.com, but make sure and mark it on your calendar. The WorkSafe Texas Summit is Tuesday, September 19th at the Hotel Paso del Norte. I'll see y'all there.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
A crash on I-10 westbound at Yarborough has 3 right lanes blocked. Only 1 left lane is getting by to the far left. Police and medical on the scene there. Half-hour delays going back to Zaragoza. Also in the East Valley, an injury accident westbound Pebble Hills east of Mike Price. And that earlier crash eastbound Montana before Yarborough at Limerick Road has cleared. All lanes are open. Carrie Edwards, El Paso traffic.
For the Kids Golf Tournament, September 29th at Butterfield Trail Golf Course to benefit Guardians of the Children's Sun City. Help fight child abuse while out on the green. Food, drinks, on concourse games, prizes, and swag, all included with your registration fee, plus much, much more. Registration open now. Spots are limited. Various sponsorship levels available. Contact Guardians of the Children Sun City for more information at suncity.goc@gmail.com or message them at Guardians of the Children Sun City on Facebook. For the Kids Golf Tournament. Register for the fun, play for the cause.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Want to save big on custom faux wood blinds, shutters, cellular shades, and more? Shop Blindster today and save up to 50% over comparable blinds from brick and mortar stores. Get custom blinds at low prices and free shipping at Blindster.com.
Hey, El Paso, Ivan Ochoa, General Manager of Sunland Park Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat. Don't get hit hard by high prices or low trade offers. Score a touchdown and save thousands on new and certified pre-owned vehicles and get more for your trade.
Trade in and trade up for less during Jeep Adventure Days at Sunland Park Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. For a limited time, get $6,500 off MSRP on 2023 Ram 1500 Lowstar, Bighorn, and Laramie trucks, or 2.9% APR for 72 months. 2023 Jeep Gladiator trucks, 10% off MSRP. Take $3,500 off MSRP on 2023 Dodge Charger. Get $2,500 off MSRP on 2023 Chrysler 300 and 2023 Dodge Challenger. Worried about your credit or worried that you're upside down in your trade? Forget about it. Our aggressive lenders will push to approve your credit, even if your credit is less than perfect or if you owe more than your trade is worth. Trade in and trade up for less at Sunland Park Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat at I-10 at Sunland Park Drive or online at sunlandparkdodge.com. $1,550 per thousand finance includes factory rebate and dealer discount plus TTNL on select vehicles with approved credit. Offers not combined.
The El Paso Community Foundation supports the causes you feel passionate about here in the borderland, whether it's education, social services, arts and culture, the environment, health, or economic development. The El Paso Community Foundation has been promoting philanthropy and progress in our hometown region for more than 45 years. Make your mark with us. Start a fund today. For good, for El Paso, forever. Learn more at epcf.org. That's epcf.org.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-522-5700. 800-522-5700.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I am your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you all for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch.tv, either under Talk El Paso or Andrew J. Polk. And, of course, Talk El Paso brought to you in part by Sunland Park Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat. All their deals, including their Jeep Adventure Day savings going on right now with up to 10% off MSRP or thousands of dollars back in cash allowances and cash back. Also on some of their Dodge offers. There's a lot going on before the end of the month, so be sure to check them out here. Again, Sunland Park Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat, 950 Crockett Street, right across from Sunland Park Mall across I-10. So, of course, it's Friday here, and we got a lot going on, and a lot we're talking about. Phone line's still full up, but again, that number is going to be active the full hour, 2 hours, rest of this one and the one to come, 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. And a lot of commentary and questions on other things coming and dropping those likes and reacts, among other things. Do have James Holmes, Ed Glore, Ida Beza Gardner, RJ, Robbie Flores, Monica Cervantes, Raul Lamaya, among others. I think that's the full list there. But if you wanted to add your 2 cents, of course, can add your commentary there, including Buddy Vaya saying, the old saying goes, it doesn't matter what you believe, it only matters what you can prove in court. And certainly when we're talking about consequences and penalties, that absolutely is the case. Though, I'd say the court of public opinion is also a significant one and has its own consequences in its own right. So, I mean, we're still going to talk about it either way. So if you want to get on that line, just keep that one handy. But let's dive right back in. Right now, we do have Ben on the east side here with us right now. Ben, thanks for joining us.
Hello, Andrew. Okay, Raul, I listened to your Michael Popak podcast for a couple of hours today, where he was talking about the indictments of President Trump, and surprise, surprise, he believes that Trump is guilty on all counts of the indictments. According to Wikipedia, Michael Popak is a New York, Miami lawyer who has 30 years of experience as an accomplished trial attorney, strategist, and business counselor. And his list of litigation, arbitration, and trial work is impressive. So I've done my homework, but I would like for you to listen to the podcast of a former law professor known for his work and expertise in U.S. constitutional law and criminal law, a Democrat who voted for Hillary Clinton, voted for Barack Obama, has criticized Trump on his actions involving the travel ban during COVID, his rescission of protections for Dreamers, and his failure to single out white nationalists for provocations during protests in Charlottesville. I challenge you to listen to Alan Dershowitz and listen to what he says about the indictments against Donald Trump.
Okay, and so you're talking about there, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Midas Touch podcast. Was that the one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that was brought up last week. You are very correct here, and of course, you're free to offer your own challenge on it here. I haven't delved into that one myself, so I'll take your word on it for the moment. Here, I mean, there is a lot of different commentary that exists online, but again, I encourage people, and encourage with the caveat, I don't expect everyone to do this, to go and consume or at least peruse other media that you may disagree with, because I mean, it's one of the facets of, unfortunately, the modern landscape, particularly as more diverse and diffuse sources of information put themselves out there, that there's the whole, audience self-selection of, and right, you can see it whenever you turn into any particular news channel online and on air these days, that, I mean, there is a bit of a bent, okay, this is what the people who listen to us like to hear, so we'll focus on that kind of a thing. And so that's the only way I know how to get through that. So I applaud you for being willing to explore the other parts of it.
Yeah, it was very difficult, and I wasn't expecting to be swayed and everything, but I did spend a couple of hours listening to him, and he he's a good attorney, he talks good law and everything, but then we're talking about somebody who Alan Dershowitz. He's a Democrat, and he even is saying that Donald Trump is not guilty on all these things, except for he may have a little problem with one of the problems with some of the things that were found in Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, I mean, there's the whole, possession 9/10 of the law truism that exists out there, and of the issues being fought and found here, I mean, there is liability attached to some of these things, though. Again, it was a very nice chandelier in that bathroom. It just, the whole bathroom part of it is still, of concern to me.
Well, anyway, that's my thoughts for the day. Raul, I hope you will take up my challenge. There's other things, I think you should listen to too, and we've talked about that before. Everybody else that's listening, really listen to some of the podcasts that some of the other conservatives have this to talk about.
Yeah, fair enough here. Well, appreciate the point in the call. You have a good one there.
Okay, stay well, stay safe. God bless, and let's go, Brandon.
Fair enough here. And a lot of the people chiming in on those things and some other truisms coming through here. We'll get to more of those here in a second, but we do need to take that next break right now. So want to get on the line, that number to do so. And there is a line available for the moment that I'm saying this, 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Stay tuned. Mazer Security Alarms, providing the safety and security for our offices here at News Radio 690 KTSM and iHeartMedia in El Paso, and can do the same thing for you, of course, here, because you can afford the best. There is no job too small or too large, and they do have affordable payment plans and payments starting at very low cost, including $0 down options. So if you want to find out about that, the tech that they have brought to bear, developing it themselves, and what operations and what their skilled, certified, and licensed installation techs can do with you, and bringing that more than 40 years of local experience to bear, give them a call, 915-590-0033. That's 915-590-0033. Make sure to ask about the $6.90 discount for your peace of mind, safety, and security. Mazer Security Alarms.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
With your KFOX 14 news update, I'm Liz Dewicki. The execution date of the El Paso man who's on death row for the murder of a 5-year-old girl has been called off. David Renteria's execution date of November 16th has been withdrawn, according to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. KFOX 14 has reached out to learn more about why that execution date has been canceled. Law enforcement is investigating social media threats toward Horizon High School Friday morning. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office said they are actively looking into that situation, and school resource officers are still patrolling the campus. The Socorro City Council putting off a decision on a controversial road project Thursday, responding to complaints from residents who said the current plans threaten to destroy their neighborhood and their homes. Officials have been studying the need for an arterial road connecting Socorro and Interstate 10 since 2014. A report this year identified Vineyard and Bauman roads as a major part of the new preferred arterial. Residents say they're frustrated with the road planning process and say it will destroy hundreds of homes in that area. Socorro Mayor Ivy Avalos saying the Arterial 1 road project is not scheduled to be let out for bids until 2028. With your KFOX 14 news update, I'm Liz Dewicki.
News Radio 690. Traffic all day.
Delay times are looking a lot better than they were 20 minutes ago on the I-10 westbound after a crash at Yarborough. Now only one right lane is affected, one right lane blocked. Traffic's getting through. It's a 15-minute delay back to Zaragoza. On Gateway North at Diana, injury accident blocking the right lane. Another injury accident in the East Valley, westbound Pebble Hills, east of Mike Price. Carrie Edwards, El Paso traffic.
From the KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center, this is forecaster Nasai Mancini. Well, folks, we're in for another warm weekend. We're going to be seeing temperatures in those 90s, even might be cooling off into those upper 80s. You're going to see a little bit of rain chances come the weekend for your Saturday and Sunday. Lows looking like they're going to be staying in those 60s. Going to be a little bit breezy as well on Saturday, so make sure you have those umbrellas handy just in case. Head on over to kfoxtv.com for the latest forecast.
This report is sponsored by Irish Spring, the fresh scent of Irish Spring. And those sensational Irish Spring suds are just the reset you need to own the day. Irish Spring. When the spring hits you, you're ready. Pick up Irish Spring at your local retailer today.
Keep your family and livelihood safe with a stable security system from Mazer Security Alarms. Your trusted El Paso security expert since 1982. You can get the best. Systems start at under $35 per month with upfront purchase to lease options and $0 down payment packages available. Get the peace of mind you deserve with Mazer Security Alarms. For your free quote or to upgrade your existing system, call Mazer Security Alarms at 915-590-0033. Mazer Security Alarms.
Hi, I'm Burt Ward, Robin from TV's Batman, inviting you to feed your dog natural, non-GMO, Gentle Giants dog and puppy food. Dogs eating Gentle Giants and following our special feeding and care program are living as long as 27 healthy, active years with a wonderful quality of life. Holy wow, 27 years! Think of all the extra years you could enjoy with your dog. At Petco, Stater Brothers, H-E-B, and more. Try Gentle Giants cat and kitten food, too.
Attention homeowners, get Choice Home Warranty's award-winning service for 25 major systems and appliances before a breakdown. Call 1-844-674-5971 for a free quote. That's 1-844-674-5971. Limitations apply. Visit choicehomewarranty.com for details.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. If you're like many people, you may think custom blinds is a job for expensive professionals. Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install our custom blinds and save big. Plus, we guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live, streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages we're up on these days, Facebook.com/Talk El Paso, the Talk El Paso channel over on YouTube, Twitter @Talk El Paso, or Twitch.tv, Andrew J. Polk, and a lot of different commentary coming in and different suggestions, including some interesting theories, let's put it that way, such as RJ saying keep your friends close and your enemies even closer, be wise as the serpent and gentle as a dove. Buddy Vice following up with be like water, and some conversation back and forth on there, including the Trump the weatherman. The comments often go fast and furious, and Thunderdome comments often comes in there, so if you want to check all that out, that's primarily over on the Facebook, as we also have Amber Bonda rocking on with us there today. Thanks for chiming in here. And again, back to those phone lines now. Full up again at the moment, so I'll tell you when they're all available as much as I can, but keep that number again handy, 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. We do have next with us on the line right now, we do have Raul in Northeast with us right now. Raul, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Andrew. Alan Dershowitz, he was I've seen him. I know who he is. He's a Harvard law professor also, but he went Trumpy. And he had a long relationship with, guess who? Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted child sex trafficker, was a bud of Alan Dershowitz. And I guess that's why he went Trumpy. I don't know. I listened to Lawrence Tribe. Now, he's a Harvard constitutional law professor. He was born in China to Russian Jewish parents. He entered Harvard, listen to this, at 16. Graduated magna cum laude with a summa cum laude in mathematics in 1962 and a magna cum laude in law in 1966. I listened to Andrew Weissman, who was the lead counsel in the impeachment proceedings there. Joyce Vance, a former federal prosecutor. These are the people that you can see on MSNBC if you want to see top-notch legal people. Barbara McQuaid, another former federal prosecutor. The list goes on and on. I mean, if people want to be informed about what's happening with traitorous moron Donald Trump, it's all over MSNBC. It's all over there. And what blows my mind is that all this information is out there about this man who wants to be the president of the United States again, who is the leading contender in the Republican Party, who has a long, long list of the scummiest of behavior. The last person in the world that you would want your children to look up to. And we can talk about policy, but that would be great. Been someone who's hired and fired people and managed people, I don't care how good of a producer somebody might be, if their life and their reputation is in the gutter. That doesn't matter. Organizations don't want that. Somebody who's been accused of sexual assault or actually found adjudicated to have raped somebody. Okay, and 24 other women accusing him of sexual assault. 2 of them who showed up to the trial that he lost. Okay, caught bragging on tape about sexually assaulting women. I don't care how good of a producer that individual was. That test would be failed. There's not a company in the world that would hire a Donald Trump. And yet the Republican Party and their base wants to hire this guy again to be the president of the United States. A man who is buds with Vladimir Putin, our long, long enemy of ever, the Russian people who hacked the election to help this guy get in there, as far as I can say. A man whose behavior here in El Paso, he ripped the city off of $500,000. But again, the Trumpers here in El Paso think that he's the kind of guy that's worthy of our trust again. Or a guy whose rhetoric gets people killed. Now the jurors on the Georgia trial have been doxxed and they're getting death threats. The special counsel has now asked the judge to come up with some limitations on what Trump is saying. He's getting people hurt. And what he says translates into action. That's the scary part. See, so this is what's going on in this country. Bigger than immigration, Andrew, bigger than anything that's happening in El Paso is what's happening with this man and the contest to be the leader of the free world, a guy who disparaged soldiers, who didn't ever serve, and nobody in his family ever served the military.
I mean, I get what you're saying. You're not the president of some fan club involving Trump in the name there, I'm sure. But again, when it comes to the actual conversation about his policy, yes, I would love to talk about his policies and the things like that. And I think that's at least part of what it comes down to. I'm not going to pretend to speak on behalf of any Trump voter or Trump inclined person, politically speaking, but it's not a necessarily, hey, this is the best possible person, but preference over the alternative. I mean, you got to admit that there are some lackluster aspects of, even coming into this campaign when it came to Joe Biden and the Biden administration, and it coming down to that there's rumblings of primary challenges. I'll be kind of surprised if those end up actually materializing in any significant and viable type of way. So it seems like we're pretty well locked in for that being the next offering when it comes to the ballot box. And sure, Trump is still the front runner because, I don't necessarily know if that's a better policies than anyone else who is on the ballot, but of the way that there is Donald Trump, he was a reality TV show host, for crying out loud. There's not a whole lot of people in that category that do not have an ego and a personality and drive behind them that way. And some people respond very positively to that, and that will drive them to it, certainly. But when it comes to the other policies, it's I prefer it over the other guy. Lesser of two evils, or weevils, as I was reminded of from Master and Commander days back a little while ago. And so it's more the comparison than anything, which is arguably how Biden ended up in office anyway, because there weren't a whole lot of at least not from people I know, and arguably from polls, yes, absolutely, Joe Biden type voters out there. I'm sure there was someone, but a lot of I prefer him over the other guy. So, there's definitely that out there, and was arguably the result of the current election and what we have in office right now with it. So, that being said, just telling them hey, this guy's awful, how can you possibly like them? I just got to wonder, has that ever personally worked out for you in conversations you've had with people who are of a professing support for the former president, either at the time he was in office or another potential one, of moving the needle there at all in conversations you've had with people? I'm really curious about that.
No, you can't move these cult members, not at all. But we can talk about policy, okay? Let's start out with Obamacare, repeal and replace. He went on that. Did we get it? No, we didn't. Okay. What happened to Trump Care? Trump Care was going to be, lower premiums and paid for by the government and everybody covered. Didn't happen. Okay. Talk about Mexico and the wall. Okay. First of all, he said he was going to deport the 11 million people that were here working here illegally. Never did that. Okay. So all these people that are coming over here, which is a problem, if he had deported those people, and there'd be 11 open million slots for them. So it wouldn't be such a big problem if he had actually done what he said he was going to do. Okay, he said he was going to build a wall across the entire border between Mexico and the United States, and Mexico was going to pay for it. It didn't happen either. Okay, he lost the popular vote, but ruled as if he had a mandate. He went out to reverse all the policies Obama had, the Paris Accord, the Iran deal. So he governed like a tyrant, somebody who had won the popular vote, which in fact he didn't. He did not have a mandate, but he governed like a tyrant. Okay, he said he was going to get North Korea to denuclearize. No, he didn't do that. He threatened the heck out of them, scared the world for a while, for the idiot to find out that it's a stalemate. Everybody knows it's been a stalemate forever. And then he says he falls in love with the communist dictator of North Korea. Unbelievable. That's policy, Andrew. The way he handled COVID was a foobar. It showed his incompetence. It showed his total lack of mindset to be able to handle the thing that ended up costing him his presidency. And he ends up leaving Biden a crashed economy and a very, very sick America, because he preys on the prejudices of the people. He stole the Republican Party from the establishment, from the globalists, from the Bushes, by appealing to the racists, the xenophobes, the white supremacists, the ugliest part of the Republican Party, the KKK, all those folks.
Okay, I got to put it this way. Again, we can talk policy as much as you want. In fact, I do prefer that as the way we go about most things here. But, and the question coming up here about some people being one and the same, I have no problem with someone criticizing an elected official. That is literally what they are there to do. But you're getting into this whole effectively basket of deplorables area, and it's a little bit of cope, I got to be honest with you, of the idea that, well, everything would be fine if it weren't for enter X group here. And if we could just deal with them somehow, everything would be fine. That is well, I don't think you'd like to be in the company of the people who would be sharing that same kind of methodology and thinking process as would be in that exact same room of, hey, if we can just get rid of X group or deal with them, everything would be fine type of thing. So again, you don't have to like the president. This is not me trying to say, but come on, give him a chance. No, you can make all your political decisions that you want, but when you start then saying, and anyone who doesn't agree with me on this is enter X description as you were just going through there, because that's, again, how did that work out in 2016? Remind me. I mean, how many bumper stickers were launched by that, and how much did that become a rallying cry in its own right, backfiring spectacularly going into the 2016 election? So, I mean, if you want to go through with that, again, Free for All Friday, we'll take the comment here, but keep it in Friday. That's going to be my warning for you as we continue through into other parts of this week, because don't think I've not seen the tendency towards trying to get those hits in before I can say anything. We're going to start shutting them down pretty handily, just making that perfectly clear if we're getting way too far afield from what we are talking about during the rest of the week. Friday is what it is, and we'll keep it that way. But again, the idea of saying like, hey, got to beat up on the supporters here, his power base, like, sure, there's a political argument with it, but it comes down to of just wanting to just get those shots in when it doesn't even, by your own admission, move the needle at all. At least admit to yourself, if not to me or anyone else publicly, that it's for you. It's for your own gratification and for your own sense of chest beating. Yeah, I told them. Because if it's literally not doing anything, it's, well, you got some real rocking chair logic going on there. Anyway, then again, I see a difference in trying to beat up on other people who are not the elected officials as that. So, I mean, I take Buddy Bias's point in hand, but let's just say I do take at least somewhat of the intent behind it into mind as well. Anyway, we got to take that next break right now. Coming out of this break, we will get to more comments, more calls, more everything on the line after this, but I got to take that break. So keep that number handy. We do have a line available now, by the way, 915-544-5876, 544 KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Stay tuned.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
Delay times are looking a lot better than they were 20 minutes ago on the I-10 westbound after a crash at Yarborough. Now only one right lane is affected, one right lane blocked. Traffic's getting through. It's a 15-minute delay back to Zaragoza. On Gateway North at Diana, injury accident blocking the right lane. Another injury accident in the East Valley, westbound Pebble Hills, east of Mike Price. Carrie Edwards, El Paso traffic.
This report is sponsored by Pfizer.
Warning. If you are 60 or older, RSV can be a dangerous respiratory virus.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. This message is brought to you by Pfizer.
Hey guys, this is Andrew J. Polk. My not-so-secret way of looking and feeling great is going to Hammer and Nails, El Paso's newest men's grooming destination, with everything about your personal grooming, privacy, and comfort in mind. Ready with your favorite drink at the door? They offer everything from head to toe, hair, beard, mustache, and hand and foot services. You want to find out about their full services and their great memberships. Of course, find them online, hammerandnailsgrooming.com. That's hammer, A-N-D, nailsgrooming.com. And I'll see you there.
The Window Depot is more than a window store. The Window Depot is a one-stop warehouse with everything you need for your complete home remodel. Shop the aisles of pre-built cabinets in a variety of colors, granite and quartz countertops, sinks, skylights, and hardware to complete your project. Need a custom order? We can help. Our designers offer free design services and can special order everything you need for your kitchen or bathroom remodel today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
You know when you wake up and your mouth feels gross and you just can't wait to brush your teeth to get that clean, fresh feeling again? That's exactly how millions of Navage users feel when they use powered suction to rinse out their noses every day, just like brushing their teeth. Once you're able to breathe deeply without congestion, you never want to be without it. That's why so many people rave about Navage, with over 100,000 online reviews. Feel the Navage difference for yourself. In less than a minute a day, you'll feel immediate relief from seasonal allergies and congestion after the very first use. Navage will also help you sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier, naturally, without drugs. Start breathing clearly again with Navage. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, Target, CVS, Rite Aid, and online at Navage.com. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
If you take care of your feet will take care of you. See how we can help at the Good Feet store.
News Radio 690 KTSM El Paso.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I am your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thanks for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages. And, of course, a lot of ways to interact with the show, either, again, those Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, or either on the phone line. Again, that number, full up at the moment, but is 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. You're going to have time to squeeze in one quick call. We're going to try this out anyway here before I have to take that next break right now. We do have Victor and Santa Teresa on the phone with us here right now. Victor, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the work you do and for the respectful way that you do it. Just the response from Alan Dershowitz, this the person who made claims again about Dershowitz having a connection to the Love Island and Weinstein. Dershowitz's response was, publicly, I will sue with everything for anything they have to anyone who can prove to any degree that I have been immoral in my personal and professional life, including claims about the Love Island. And be ready to be sued, because I will sue you with everything I have. Remember that I have 50 years of experience. And so the person who made that claim did not have all the information.
Okay, fair enough. Well, appreciate the point in the call there. Tell you what, we got to end up getting to that next hour right now. So you don't think it was directed at any, the talk about certain persons was about some, I think, commentators that previous caller was talking about here. But in any case, we'll take that break right now and come back and get to more of the calls on the line here. If you want to get on the line, that number to do so is, of course, 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Stay tuned.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
An injury accident, Gateway North at Diana, only one lane getting through that intersection. El Paso Fire and Police on the scene there. An earlier serious accident, I-10 westbound at Yarborough cleared, but still some minor delays. And 20-minute delays in both directions, I-10 east and westbound from Vinton down to Thorne. Kerry Edwards, El Paso traffic.
Hey, El Paso, Ivan Ochoa, General Manager of Sunland Park Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat. Don't get hit hard by high prices or low trade offers. Score a touchdown and save thousands on new and certified pre-owned vehicles and get more for your trade.
Trade in and trade up for less during Jeep Adventure Days at Sunland Park Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. For a limited time, get $6,500 off MSRP on 2023 Ram 1500 Lowstar, Bighorn, and Laramie trucks, or 2.9% APR for 72 months. 2023 Jeep Gladiator trucks, 10% off MSRP. Take $3,500 off MSRP on 2023 Dodge Charger. Get $2,500 off MSRP on 2023 Chrysler 300 and 2023 Dodge Challenger. Worried about your credit or worried that you're upside down in your trade? Forget about it. Our aggressive lenders will push to approve your credit, even if your credit is less than perfect, or if you owe more than your trade is worth. Trade in and trade up for less at Sunland Park Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. At I-10 at Sunland Park Drive or online at sunlandparkdodge.com. $1,550 per thousand finance includes factory rebate and dealer discount plus TTNL on select vehicles with approved credit. Offers not combined.
Don't miss our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Are you ready?
See Foo Fighters,
Kelly Clarkson, Tim McGraw, and many more. Friday and Saturday, September 22nd and 23rd.
iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
Always just minutes away from the latest news around town and around the world.
You need to know what's going on.
News Radio 690 KTSM. KTSM AM El Paso is News Radio 690, an iHeart radio station. News on the hour and the hat. Traffic and weather all day. News Radio 690 is KTSM AM El Paso, an iHeart radio station.
NBC News Radio, I'm Brian Shook. The United Auto Workers Union and Detroit's three major car companies will restart negotiations tomorrow. The president of the UAW said GM, Ford, and Stellantis have all received a counteroffer, and the union is waiting for their response. President Biden spoke about the issue.
Auto companies have seen record profits, including the last few years, because of the extraordinary skill and sacrifices of the UAW workers.
Speaking from the White House today, Biden also said he believes union workers have not been paid fairly over the past several years. The strike kicked off Friday after the current contract expired at midnight. Parts of coastal New England are bracing for tropical storm conditions as Hurricane Lee moves northward in the western Atlantic. The latest update from the National Hurricane Center says Lee remains a large hurricane with top winds of 80 miles an hour. Unsealed court records show the special counsel investigating former President Trump obtained direct messages from Trump's Twitter account. The court documents reveal special federal counsel Jack Smith's investigators warned Trump could precipitate violence if he was made aware about their efforts to get the messages. California is one step closer to becoming the first state in the nation to call for a constitutional convention on gun safety. Nika Magahis reports.
It's now up to Governor Gavin Newsom to sign the gun safety resolution, which has been passed by the state legislature. It requests for a convention of the states to consider a new amendment on gun control. The amendment would impose new laws that require universal background checks, raise the minimum age to buy a gun from 18 to 21, institute a reasonable waiting period for all gun purchases, and ban the sale of assault weapons to the public.
President Biden will host Ukrainian President Zelensky at the White House next week. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio. Democratic New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy is calling on lawmakers on Capitol Hill for comprehensive immigration reform. Natalie Migliori reports.
As New York deals with an influx of asylum seekers, Murphy previously said new arrivals have swelled into the Garden State. Speaking at an unrelated event, the Democrat outlined potential immigration policies.
Whether we like it in my party or not, we're going to have to secure the border. Period.
He also said measures should include a pathway to status for the roughly 20 million people already in the country, calling for a legal, responsible, job-oriented immigration system.
It's not that hard, but you'd never believe that looking at it from the outside.
I'm Natalie Migliori.
Consumers are getting some bad news this week as it appears inflation is heating up. On Wednesday, the Consumer Price Index for August came out, and it increased 3.7%, up from 3.2% in July. The CPI measures consumer prices of everything from groceries to gas. Then today, the Producer Price Index report, which measures how much producers get for goods and services, was up 0.7% in August and 1.6% year over year. It's an American icon. Bree Tennis has the details on what we celebrate today.
Grab a stack of napkins. Today is National Cheeseburger Day. It was invented in 1924 by a teenager working at his father's soda shop in Pasadena, California. Lionel Sternberger is the guy who added the cheese, and we thank him for that today by eating one. But with 800 calories, not including the fries, better keep it to one.
NASA astronaut Frank Rubio now holds the record for the longest orbit mission by an American. Rubio passed 355 days on the International Space Station this week. The West Point grad, who's a doctor and a helicopter pilot by training, said he's looking forward to reaching 365 days. Brian Shook, NBC News Radio.
The countdown is on to our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
The most massive live music event of the year.
Friday and Saturday, September 22nd and 23rd at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
Brought to you by T-Mobile. Experience more of the music you love with the record-breaking 5G network. T-Mobile customers can unlock VIP benefits at the festival all weekend long. It's better over here. See why at T-Mobile.com/SEEWHY.
This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? Here's a hint. Fall finds for $25 and under, like sharp blazers, cozy sweaters, cargo pants, jackets, and more. Find the latest trends and new arrivals at a Macy's Backstage store near you.
Hi, I'm Burt Ward, Robin from TV's Batman, inviting you to feed your dog natural, non-GMO, Gentle Giants dog and puppy food. Dogs eating Gentle Giants and following our special feeding and care program are living as long as 27 healthy, active years with a wonderful quality of life. Holy wow, 27 years! Think of all the extra years you could enjoy with your dog at Petco, Stater Brothers, H-E-B, and more. Try Gentle Giants cat and kitten food, too.
Why is iHeartRadio the #1 streaming radio app? Free music.
Free live radio stations from all over the country.
Free podcasts. Free playlists.
Free contests. Free artist radio stations.
Commercial-free stations. It's free. I love iHeartRadio. Join the millions of music, radio, and podcast fans on the #1 streaming radio app now.
iHeartRadio.
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 Free never sounded so good.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. A lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
That's just one adoption story that started at a shelter. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you also very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages we're up on these days, facebook.com/Talk El Paso, the Talk El Paso channel over on YouTube, Twitter at Talk El Paso, or twitch.tv, Andrew J. Polk. However you're able to tune in, chime in, comment, call in, well, if you want to there, or to get the opportunity to do so, pull up at the moment, or again, add your 2 cents. However works best for you, that's the right place for you to be. And those dropping those likes and reacts that we do appreciate, particularly, again, over on the Facebook. Amber Bondo, Ronaldo Rivera, James Ratcliffe, Buddy Baez, Ted Kors, Sean Gardner, James Holmes, Ed Clore, Ida Beza Gardner, RJ, Raul Amaya, Robbie Flores, and Monica Cervantes. We do appreciate it. And a lot of other commentary coming in, including Rick Reyes saying that from 2016 to 2020, I was way better off. Now forget about it. Surely I'm not going to vote for President Biden. One less vote for Biden. Again, you're entitled to make your decisions out on that. And there was a question about the last caller. I will say I'll have to probably go back and listen to it. It did come through a little bit more garbled than I was expecting, given the answer to the phone call. But I think there was the reference to at least Alan Dershowitz and of lawsuits about it. It almost made me wonder if Mr. Dershowitz was calling in himself, but caller identified himself as, well, not that, but in any case, that's kind of one of those questions, but also about commentary about the way we talk about things. Like, look, if you want to talk about a president and their policies and even your impression of them, hey, go for it, to be particularly on Friday, of course. But Buddy Baez specifically saying and taking issue with some of the response they're saying, let me find the right one here, that Raul and Andrew are the same caller, referring to caller Andrew. Well, one only wants to call in and hate on Trump. The only one wants to call in and hate on Biden. It's annoying. Also, I think you're slightly mistaken there. I think you're thinking about Ben, referring to the Let's Go Brandon finish of the call there. So make sure you're referring to the right person here. But also, I mean, I don't have a problem and never really take issue with saying, hey, I'm not here to say, but why don't you like the politician that I think I like or someone else likes or something like that? I mean, that's part and parcel with politics. I mean, we've had people saying about like, well, hey, isn't that slander for an elected official? And like, look, the barrier is a bit lower when it comes to actually talking about, because also the barrier to be able to, say, do a lawsuit against an elected official is summarily in the same position. But point is that you want to talk about your favorites, quote unquote, elected official and what you like or don't like about them. That's fine. The part that I take issue with, and here's the difference and the reason that if you see a different treatment happening here, is when you then start saying, and anyone who likes them, and start for no other reason than you think that those kind of people may be listening. Again, it goes straight to that whole basket of deplorables type of commentary. When if you lash out at an electorate, like if you want to talk about the reason that, hey, this person may not actually fit your interests, like that's legitimate political commentary. But otherwise, okay, for the example of it here, I don't think that this policy put forth by this president is going to serve my economic interest versus, hey, this guy sucks and anyone who likes him sucks. I would hope that the difference would be, at the very least, somewhat visible about that there. But in any case, let's go to those phone lines now. Again, full up at the moment, but keep that number handy, 915-544-5876-544-KTSM. In the meantime, some still saying that they love Fridays like Montemoncanda. We do have Frankie and Messia on the line with us here right now. Frankie, thanks for joining us.
Okay, well, right out of the box here. I got there's so many peripheral issues that have been addressed currently today and in all of the weeks previously. But let me just say something. I want to talk about Veronica Escobar. I want to talk Andrew, awful Andrew, and everybody else out there. Well, let me say something here. My main point is I voted you yesterday. This is where I want to spend my majority of time. As I pointed out to you, I want to talk about, and if you remember, okay, we've got Congress.
Sure.
We've got the people, looking for their representatives to support their thought process. So, wait a minute. The thing that annoys me 14 different ways this Sunday is this constant refrain from so many Americans. Well, why isn't Congress doing something about this or that or whatever it is? Now, wait a minute. Why isn't it? Guess what? Because of the fact of how you decide you want to position yourself, the person looking toward your representative. Let me back off a minute. You take this person, this Muggery Thuggery Taylor Greene from the 14th Congressional District of Georgia, who's off the wall 14 different ways of Sunday, and you multiply her by 10, 20, 30, whatever it is, and you expect, and I'm talking, this is rhetorical, you expect that the Congress is going to work right when you got these kind of nut jobs that want to go this way versus that way? 14, how do you expect anything to work? So when people say, why isn't it Congress is working for me? You need to look back in your reflection in the mirror and say the reason, the problem Congress is not working is you morons. And that's my opening comment.
Yeah, so going back to the question you kind of posted up at the end of yesterday about, and the way I kind of rephrased it is, what is the problem with politics right now? Is it essentially the representatives or is it the electorate? And I'll be honest, there's probably problems with both, but I got to say that the involvement of individuals has been very problematic. I mean, okay, one of the biggest problems coming from the those who are elected side of things is, of course, redistricting, gerrymandering, of electors picking the people who select them and making sure they have the attributes they want, busting up of certain groups, those kind of things. That's a huge problem, and probably one of the biggest things that ultimately ends up affecting political power in this country here today, particularly at the national level, but of course even at the state one, as we've had seen when it comes to our state representation. We actually lost a seat in this most recent redistricting because of, well, that was population based, but still there could be other things, like if they were trying to break up the political power of El Paso, so to speak, and putting it into multiple different districts would be a hard sell in this area, but that's the kind of thing that can help in elsewhere. But when it comes to people being involved, at the very least in our area, that is a huge damn issue. Again, it can be 1 in 10 of just the registered voters of El Paso, which is half the population as it is anyway, not being able to even wander their way into a ballot box at any given point in time. I mean, sure, we probably have a hair too many elections in this area. I mean, I'm good for it. I'm here for it. But I know that for most people, the comment I get most often is, wait, didn't we just have an election? Which, side note, We have one coming up in November, by the way, just so you know. There are, among other things, 14 Texas constitutional amendments going to be on this ballot for those of us in the Lone Star State, and I'm sure there'll be something on New Mexico, but that's one I've been most focused on. So, yeah, we got more coming up, so that probably isn't exactly helping solve the issue, but still, the fact of the matter is that in previous generations, in previous eras of the pretty short history of this country as it is, it was noted by international observers, people coming through, forgetting the particular observer that comes to mind at the moment, but talking about how eager and how often Americans were there forming associations, participation groups, ones that were fired up about issues. And at that point in time, you want to talk about in the 1800s in general, I'll put it that way. That's the idea of the ability to ignore politics as a luxury of the rich. That was the common conception of it. And now that's almost completely flipped on its head. And I mean, sure, lobbying could be argued to have an impact on this, but that the ability to actually do something with politics is only available to the rich. Meanwhile, I think general people have forgotten that, the whole concept, as it certainly does exist, of, well, in most things anyway, one man, one vote, or one person, one vote. Now, of course, as those laws and the rights have changed, become more available to those, regardless of their identity and situation. Point is that people are not taking advantage of it. I mean, a right is a right, whether you take advantage of it or not, but particularly something as impacting as voting, making your voice heard, being a part of the process, it's like pulling teeth. Pulling teeth would probably be easier to get people to sign up for a teeth pulling booth than it would be for a voting booth these days, it feels like.
There's a number of points you presented that I'd love to ping on, but I don't have enough time. But let me just say this. 435 is a lower house representatives representing people of diverse interests. I want this. I want that. I want to do this. I want to do that. The whole purpose of the way this was designed was to say, okay, bang it around. But the ultimate point is, what is the better thought process to the advancement of the entire society? And I'm going to sound like a broken record here. I'm so sick and tired of so many Americans out there saying, well, my Congress is not working. Why aren't they fixing this? Why aren't they fixing that? And I'm so sick and tired of hearing that, because it's not Congress. It is not your representative. It is you. And I'm not talking you specifically.
Sure.
You are the problem, not your representative, because he is the reflection of what you want. So give it up. And that's my ending comment.
Fair enough. And again, we'll still put that question out to everyone else there as well. What do you think is the issue with modern politics, those that we elect or those that are doing the electing? And I think it's a fair question, and one that gets pretty quickly to a root of what could be seen as a lot of the issues we do have today. So appreciate the question, the point in the call. You have a good one there.
Okay, Andrew, have a good weekend.
You there as well. And so, too, I think we got time for one more quick call on the line here. We do have Eric on the east side here with us right now. Eric, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, anyone who purposely deceives and misinforms voters has no respect for democracy, and Trump tried to disenfranchise millions of voters. Where's the concern? And Ben and Victor, Alan Dershowitz is a fraud and bad faith propagandist trying to sell his pro-Trump deep state conspiracy theorist book to idiots, also known as people who still support Trump who have no clue what confirmation bias is. Alan Dershowitz was Trump's personal lawyer for his first impeachment. He was also the lawyer for Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein. Dershowitz literally negotiated the non-prosecution agreement for Jeffrey Epstein in 2006 himself, that allowed Epstein to continue to sexually abuse and traffic young girls while protecting all of the deviants that Epstein provided these sex trafficking victims to. Look it up. Dershowitz is making the right-wing propaganda circuit, being Trump's biggest advocate, selling his pro-Trump book, making millions. Common sense says he's not a credible source for anything, and he'll say anything for money. This is common sense. Ben, you have no clue what a credible source is, like most who listen to this station. Every source you've shared has been very transparent BS. And the grand jury indictment of Trump in D.C., it read, what he was indicted for? It was a conspiracy to defraud the United States by using dishonesty, fraud, and deceit to impair, obstruct, and defeat the lawful federal government function by which the results of the presidential election are collected, counted, and certified by the federal government. second one was a conspiracy to corruptly obstruct and impede the January 6th congressional proceeding at which the collected results of the presidential election are counted and certified. And his third count was a conspiracy against the right to vote and to have one's vote counted in violation of 18 such and such. Anyone who watched the January 6th hearings, which you didn't, or even just read the indictments, know he's guilty of these treasonous crimes because they've been, they've seen and listened to the evidence. It's out there already. Conservatives refuse to look at it. You went out of your way to downplay these treasonous acts I just read numerous times, communicating, well, he wasn't charged with treason, therefore what he did wasn't treasonous, downplaying these charges, detailing his attempt to steal the election. I had to ask you if you had read the indictment the next call after that one, because I know you don't research things in general, and what you were saying was simply false.
Sure.
And for you to defend and downplay these treasonous acts.
Okay, let's since you're directly addressing me here now, and not just the issues. But okay, I mean, treason was not a part of this. That was actually specifically in statements made by, if you read those statements, made by the ones putting together these indictments, particularly the ones based in Washington, D.C., around those activities. Those were specifically not a part of it. In fact, they went out of their way to mention that, talking about what the statements being made by the president, so that free speech effectively was not a part of that indictment. You would know that if you were reading the other releases, the statements, the public things that they were putting out along with him. And that roughly 50-page indictment that, yes, we have read and has been out there for a while now, does not have that as a part of it. It comes to the actions, the conspiracy parts of it here. When I get into the Georgia one, that's a separate one. I mean, there's the whole RICO implications that come along with that, making that a completely different kettle of fish, frankly, to be honest with you. But getting to that one here, so no, that would be, it's not intended as defense. And if you took it that way, I need you to look at your own biases then, because what I'm talking about is that was a notable part of it, because it was a lot of the speculation on the part of what the indictments would come down as would be of those, again, treason. I mean, you've talked about it that yourself. You were screaming for it, if I do remember correctly, essentially, and that didn't end up becoming a part of it. It was a surprise and notable to me. Now, again, I have said repeatedly, and if you wanted to take the cherry picker off the tree there for a second, is that these are very serious charges. And frankly, I would not be in favor of any resolution besides the completion of the process. I know there are those out there that are calling for either just throw them away and lock away the key, or on the opposite side of things, saying, just dismiss the charges and just be done with it. I don't think either of those options in any way, shape, or form would be at all serving of the American people's interest at this point in time. Again, to give them the seriousness and the major implications that would come along with any of these particular charges, the ones that we're talking about, besides the ones that Raul brought up, are coming as a serious questions about how our process works, and the evidence there or not, it deserves to be fully seen and fully known by the American people. So if you take that as a defense of the former presidents here, because if it's come down to that I'm not agreeing with you, you're right, I'm not agreeing with you, but I also want to see the process go through. If you've got this whole, if you're not with me, you're against me kind of mentality, I got to wonder how well that has served you in your personal life here. But in the meantime, and actually talking about the issues is certainly important, but also shoehorning that into any other day of the week. Again, we've been having more than a few issues with that, as we are still a local radio show for the rest of it. So again, good luck with that. So appreciate the point in the call for what it's worth anyway. But coming back after this, we'll go ahead and get to more calls on the line. If you want to add your 2 cents, the number to do so is 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Stay tuned.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
I-10 westbound at East Lake in the Lower Valley, a 4-vehicle accident has been moved off to the right. No blocked lanes. Traffic seems to be getting through okay. Westbound on Border Highway, right after downtown on the Border West Expressway, multiple vehicles on the right shoulder, and then heavy stop-and-go traffic. I-10 westbound approaching Thorn to Trans Mountain. It's a 10-minute delay. Carrie Edwards, El Paso traffic.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Discover credit cards do something pretty awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right, everything you earned doubled. The cash back from trips, restaurants, all doubled. Seriously, though, see terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S., over 15 million this year alone, and many don't even know they're victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss, even when you monitor your credit. If your identity is stolen, your dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Hey, is your cell phone in desperate need of replacement? It's time to put that old phone to rest. Upgrade to the all-new 5G Samsung Galaxy, and you can get it from Pure Talk for absolutely free. Now get a free 5G Samsung Galaxy with 2-day battery life and ultra-strong Gorilla Glass when you sign up for Pure Talk's unlimited talk, text, and 15-gig data plan for only $35 a month. Plus, it comes with mobile hotspot. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword SAVE NOW, Pure Talk.
Paid for by government.com. Have you heard? Morgan's silver dollars are back for 2023. For the 100th anniversary, the U.S. Mint released the first legal tender Morgans in 100 years. They sold out instantly. Now, Morgan's silver dollars are back in 2023, minted in 99.9% pure silver, but only 275,000 coins were minted, and they will go fast. The entire market and experts agree this is a big deal and an amazing opportunity for both coin and silver buyers. Just call 1-800-509-6468 and you are guaranteed a 2023 brand new uncirculated 99.9% pure silver Morgan dollar. But with limited quantities, you must call now. To learn more, call 1-800-509-6468. Plus, you'll receive a free bonus Patriots pack, new and improved, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-509-6468 now to secure your new 2023 Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-509-6468.
Children who grow up in poverty are part of a destructive cycle. At Child Fund International, we find this unacceptable. In 25 countries, we are vigorously fighting poverty and improving the lives of children and their families. Learn more at childfund.org.
News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live, streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages we're up on these days. Facebook.com/Talk El Paso, the Talk El Paso channel over on YouTube, Twitter at Talk El Paso, or Twitch.tv, Andrew J. Polk. A lot of people tuning in, chiming in, adding their 2 cents there. And of course, we got those phone lines open right now. That number to do so is 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. Do have lines available right now. Want to add your 2 cents that way. I'll just put it here right there. We were overdue for the break, but thinking over it here, if reality or mentions of facets of reality ends up making you mad about your argument or making it seem like someone is defending something on the opposite side of it, maybe you need to rethink your argument. That's all I'm going to say on leaving that point alone there. Anyway, getting back to those phone lines now. Well, other things and other commentary about the commentators here. And I mean, people are certainly entitled to it, but well, anyway, getting to those phone lines now. We do have Stephen on the east side with us right now. Stephen, thanks for joining us.
Andrew, happy Friday.
To you as well. What's on your mind?
I think it's funny. A lot of people, whenever they listen to Frankie start with his out of the box, right out of the box, a lot of people in their mind are thinking right out of the bottle. Anyways, so
by his own admission,
Eric, Dershowitz, I don't blame Dershowitz for being a lawyer and defending his clients. When it comes to like people like Epstein, honestly, I think there's a bigger, deeper problem when it comes to the government agencies, the 3-letter agencies we have, whatever they have. I mean, someone went to jail for trafficking sex trafficking for Epstein, and they supposedly don't know who the clients were. These are very rich and powerful people. There are people in our government who know who Epstein was trafficking to, and why aren't they in jail? So we've got a very deep corruption problem in this country. And just this week, we found out that there were same people in these three-letter agencies, DOJ, CIA, FBI. It was the CIA specifically where a whistleblower came out and said that they knew that the COVID virus was made in a lab, and the CIA paid their analysts to change their opinion to publicly say that, no, it may have been just a natural virus. So there's a whistleblower that came out this week. So we have a deeply corrupt system. That's just an example. And for years, I'm so shocked that all of these people who are Democrats, left-wing people who knew about this deep state problem when it comes to wars, when it comes to the industrial military complex, people getting kickbacks when they go to these wars overseas, starting wars, drone strikes in other countries. I mean, historically, there were few people, Rand Paul, Bernie Sanders, just a few people. Most of the government, both sides, Democrat and Republican, have been voting for these wars, been voting to increase military spending, and we suspect get kickbacks from contracts from these war-torn countries after it's time to rebuild, or from the military itself. And that's been going on my whole life. So it's funny that they complain about military spending when they're just as likely, the Democrats, to start a war. And just like with Ukraine recently, Donald Trump built up the military, got ammunition, but didn't start a war. It was meant for us. And then they just shipped all of that equipment, all of that, the ammunition and all those things that was built up straight over to Ukraine. They can't complain about military spending when they're using all that military stuff that was spent on. So I think it's deeply corrupt. And people like Raul and Eric ask, why is it that someone might defend or want to vote for Donald Trump? And part of the reason is because he was the first person who's willing to push back against these deep state people in the government, people who want to start new wars, continue wars, be policemen all across the world instead of focusing on things in the United States. I mean, both people or both parties, at least the voters, agreed with polls to, for example, have a strong border. And Donald Trump says, okay, the American people want that. I'm going to do that. And the Democrats fought him tooth and nail throughout his entire presidency, did everything in their power to stop him from securing the border. He finally was able to do it near the end of his presidency anyways, mostly by strong-arming the Mexican government into doing it for us. And then as soon as Biden came into office, he got rid of the Remain in Mexico policy, and then the flow of immigrants came in again. And when it comes to that, you know, it wouldn't be too hard to do Remain in Mexico, or if you're going to claim asylum, you claim asylum in the first country that you arrive in. Let's say you're in Panama, and if you make it to Costa Rica, then you claim asylum there, and that's the rule. So there's a way to fix this. They just don't want to do it, or they have their financial incentives for not doing it. So why do we choose Donald Trump? Because he's the first person who stood up against those people. He's not perfect by any means, but at least he didn't enrich himself as pretending to be a public servant like all these other people, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell, you know, all these people, maybe even Romney. They've enriched themselves by insider trading, by using their position in the government, pretending to be a government servant, but enriching themselves. And Biden is among that list. And the government protected him, protected his son. They let the statute of limitations fall away instead of investing him, because they knew that stuff would lead to Joe Biden. Joe Biden was using Hunter's bank accounts. Hunter was sneaking money around back ways, like paying exorbitant rent per month to Joe. It's all out there. It's all corrupt. The people who are in the DOJ are involved, and they're covering up for them. And so we're tired of it. we're $31 trillion in debt, and it's because us as the people. I think Frankie does have a point that it is partly the voters' fault for letting this happen. We got too complacent. We got too comfortable. We had a good life in America for a long time. We stopped being involved. We stopped holding the politicians' feet to the fire on both sides. And now we're in this serious problem. And so people like me are saying, well, who's going to go in there and really cut out the federal government's power? Who's willing to go in there and say, all right, the central government has gotten too corrupt. We need to cut down all of these corrupt bureaucrats, their corrupt lobbyists, their corrupt associations with these big corporations who control it all and lobby and screw over the regular American person. So the best person we've had so far to do that was Donald Trump. And the moment he got in there, Democrats wanted to impeach him before he even did anything wrong. I think it was 19 minutes into his presidency, the Washington Post posted, okay, the search for impeachment has begun. They were ready to find anything on Donald Trump to get rid of him. And so they searched, they did the whole collusion Russian thing, which was all BS. They screwed up for the first 2 years of his presidency doing that. And that was all deep state people too. They knew it was all bogus. They knew the Steele dossier was bogus early into the investigation. So we know these people are corrupt. Yeah, Donald Trump isn't perfect. And I was skeptical about actual voter fraud. But as all this stuff comes out, I'm actually going to be more convinced, probably after the discovery and the Georgia case and these different things. 100,000 different ballot images disappeared. So you can't see the ballot images anymore. I think once more discovery goes in there, I think more people are going to be skeptical about that election. And maybe Donald Trump was right. Maybe he's not the traitor. Maybe he is a patriot. Maybe they were onto something when it went to voter fraud. I don't know. But I think he was the first person who a lot of people feel was willing to stick it to these deep state people. And like I said, he's not perfect, but that's why a lot of people support him.
I mean, the fact that he is still the front runner within the whole entire race for the Republicans. We've got that next debate coming up, by the way. I don't have the date immediately in front of me. We're not going to be able to cover it live here because we're not a Fox affiliate station, but we'll do the same kind of thing when it comes up to that. If we're able to be in the office that day, of having some of the clips that we'll have to say some things and not be able to put them online. So we will get through that and try to get to some of the major things from that next debate, of which I think a question is still there of if he will, the former president will participate in that one as well, because notably he has been unwilling to sign the declaration, the agreement being required by the debate organizers this year of supporting whoever the eventual nominee is. And I mean, there is a lot of aspects to the personality of the former president that are very apparent. I mean, one person did say correctly that he was a billionaire before getting on TV, and that is, I think it was a Patriot chick over on the YouTube. I don't have the comment in front of me, but I mean, that is accurate, but he's obviously a very ego-driven person. I don't think anyone would be surprised or could particularly disagree with that aspect of it here. He's very much I'm the guy. And that's why, among other things, with the whole debate stage, the reason that no one is able to really get a leg up on it at that point, from my perspective anyway, is that if you're treating the person that you're running against as the patron saint of the entire institution, how can you possibly act or get, and you're both trying to appease and then run against a person? It doesn't work out. On the whole Hunter Biden thing, I mean, we've seen the vagaries that is taken with the deal that then fell apart, and now moving forward the indictments and those aspects of it here. I don't have anything in particular that I can point to, but essentially the sense that I'm getting right now at this point anyway is of a kind of hands-off approach. I mean, there has been no, at least at this point, not that I've seen anyway, major statements from the president himself, and a lot of not from even his administration and spokesperson. So, I mean, there is I do think people say directly that, Hunter Biden is not the president, but then the question comes down to what is any involvement back and forth. And that's been a line that has been put forth, is that the president had no involvement with those deals. And I think that's the one that they'll probably be sticking with. Again, that's my more reading of the tea leaves than anything directly I can point to, but that is the part of it. The first part that you talked about there, though, or at least one of the first parts about the military industrial complex. I mean, it is often brought up in let's call it unkind company with other ideas, but I mean, it very much is a fact that we have a huge defense industry, and if you're got to need to blow stuff up. The people selling the blow you up stuff tend to do maybe a little bit better. There was actually a very interesting interview that I was directed to kind of on the subject the other day. I know sometimes someone out there gives me flack for anything associated with NPR, but it was actually an interview through Fresh Air, and it was an interview with a guy, a New York Times writer. I think it was Eric Lipton. And the one part that he was talking about when it came down to military procurement, about how we have these massive and not very mobile procurement systems, that getting something new on board and up and running, even we're not even talking about like I think everyone's heard about the massive boondoggles that have been, the fighter jet and the next generation jet issues that have gone on for years, even before literal decades in some cases, but that nimbleness is not really a part of the equation. And one of the things that struck me most from that commentary was about, particularly in the political process, that the question of, okay, military readiness, so that's often brought up, but of the idea of being able to respond, deal with near-peer conflicts or anything along those lines, that those questions aren't what then end up taking paramount issue or paramount place of mind. It's about, okay, but where is it going to be built? Where is it going to happen? And is it in the districts of the people who are on then the procurement or the relevant defense committees within the legislature? And that is what ultimately ends up determining what does and doesn't get funding in some way, because it's going to, it's going to my district, therefore I can vote for this, as a little bit of a cross purposes to what is like actually needed in the air, on the waves, or on the ground.
Yeah, and when it comes to that spending and stuff, a lot of times, and this is happening again right now,
sure,
they're going to push through this huge funding bill. We're going to go on to close to another government shutdown, maybe another government shutdown. And Mike Lee from Utah, I think he's right on about what happens. Lobbyists write these bills, and this is the system that's been set up. So as we're complaining about, is it the voters? Is it the representatives?
Mm-hmm.
The representatives don't have a chance to read these bills. They don't have a chance to amend the bills. They don't have a chance to investigate or take things off of the bills that shouldn't be there. A lobbyist will give it to the Senate majority leader, the leaders of the caucuses and those kinds of things, maybe. And the people who are going to vote on it don't get a chance to read it. It's like, if you don't vote on this right now, then it's your fault that there's a government shutdown. And they do that over and over and over again. And what's in those bills? All kinds of pork, this military spending we're talking about. It's a terrible system. And what are at least Republicans at least trying to do something about that, where you vote on one thing at a time. They've been trying to do that for quite a while now. And the powers that be are pushing back against that idea, because they don't want you to be able to vote for one thing at a time, or at least let's say a military package or this. They make it a huge bill that includes all this stuff, and you're either for it or against it. And that's why each side will go to the other side. You voted against this or you voted against that. It was like, I actually was for that, but it was part of this huge bill that had all this other stuff I didn't like. So that's why I voted against it. And it's a joke. And we need to change the system. We need to vote in people who are willing to change the system. And when it comes to president, the only person, like I said, who's willing to do big things has been Donald Trump so far. The only person I see else in there, RFK is quite different, and Vivek Ramaswamy is quite different. The thing about Vivek, though, is he's never run, he's not a governor or anything, so you can't point to a record. He says a lot of things that I think a lot of people like to hear, but it's hard to say what he would do. But what? Trump was the same way. He wasn't in politics, and then his actual policies are what he said he was going to do. So it's not impossible.
Yeah, fair enough here. Well, again, we'll keep our eye on those debates, among other things. Well, I do appreciate the point in the call. You have a good one there.
Take care.
All right, with that, we are overdue. Okay, you get me on a good discussion or something that I've been looking at outside of this. You're going to get me on the phone for a minute, but let's go and take that next break right now. We'll squeeze in the calls we can coming out of this, and we do have lines available. 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso. A bit more to go here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Hammer and Nails offers you all the services that you need head to toe when it comes to good men's grooming, because they are your premier destination in El Paso, the one that I've been trusting my head on my hair with. Anyway, most recently, getting that premium cut and premium beard grooming. Got to keep it looking good for those of you all from the social media, of course, but also just looking and feeling good in the rest of life. And so literally, they got the cuts, the shaves, the grooming, hand and foot services, even the tea tree and other essential oil treatments. They've got a whole lot of combos and everything that you can find them, or even sign up for their plans, including their clubs, including the Club Lux, their premier services, where you get one price, unlimited services, including their specific exclusive Lux 24K services, such as hand, foot care, and cut experiences. One of the reasons that I'm going to be very excited for my next cut coming out there. I'll be visiting them over at the lower level at the fountains at Farrah, and you can, of course, find them online by going to hammerandnailsgrooming.com and make your next appointment online. That's hammerandnailsgrooming.com, and I'll see you there.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
With your KFOX 14 news update, I'm Liz Dewicki. The execution date of the El Paso man who's on death row for the murder of a 5-year-old girl has been called off. David Renteria's execution date of November 16th has been withdrawn, according to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. KFOX 14 has reached out to learn more about why that execution date has been canceled. Law enforcement is investigating social media threats toward Horizon High School Friday morning. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office said they are actively looking into that situation, and school resource officers are still patrolling the campus. The Socorro City Council putting off a decision on a controversial road project Thursday, responding to complaints from residents who said the current plans threaten to destroy their neighborhood and their homes. Officials have been studying the need for an arterial road connecting Socorro and Interstate 10 since 2014. A report this year identified Vineyard and Bauman roads as a major part of the new preferred arterial. Residents say they're frustrated with the road planning process and say it will destroy hundreds of homes in that area. Socorro Mayor Ivy Avalos saying the Arterial 1 road project is not scheduled to be let out for bids until 2028. With your KFOX 14 news update, I'm Liz Dewicki.
News Radio 690. Traffic all day.
Eastbound on Border Highway near the Zaragoza exit at exit 48. Heavy traffic, heavy congestion. Exit ramp in the right lane is currently blocked. On Border West Expressway, just past downtown, multiple vehicles off to the right on the right shoulder. Then some brief stop and go heavy traffic. An earlier 4-vehicle accident in the Lower Valley. I-10 westbound at East Lake is cleared. All lanes are open. Carrie Edwards, El Paso traffic.
From the KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center, this is forecaster Nasai Mancini. Well, folks, we're in for another warm weekend. We're going to be seeing temperatures in those 90s, even might be cooling off into those upper 80s. You're going to see a little bit of rain chances come the weekend for your Saturday and Sunday. Lows looking like they're going to be staying in those 60s. Going to be a little bit breezy as well on Saturday, so make sure you have those umbrellas handy just in case. Head on over to kfoxtv.com for the latest forecast.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Hammer and Nails, El Paso's newest men's grooming destination, with your comfort and privacy in mind, and where your favorite brew, spirit, or mixed drink will be waiting for you, along with every cut, shave, manicure, or pedicure visit. Open daily at the fountains at Farrah, Hammer and Nails offers world-class luxury experiences without the pretentious price tag. Visit Hammer and Nails Grooming Shop for Guys online at hammerandnailsgrooming.com to book your next experience. That's hammerandnailsgrooming.com. For the local issues and discussion you won't get anywhere else, turn to Talk El Paso, weekdays at 4 right here on News Radio 690 KTSM, brought to you in part by the El Paso Community Foundation. Sound off on what matters to you, Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m., and let's talk El Paso.
Hi, I'm Burt Ward, Robin from TV's Batman, inviting you to feed your dog natural, non-GMO, Gentle Giants dog and puppy food. Dogs eating Gentle Giants and following our special feeding and care program are living as long as 27 healthy, active years with a wonderful quality of life. Holy wow, 27 years! Think of all the extra years you could enjoy with your dog at Petco, Stater Brothers, H-E-B, and more. Try Gentle Giants cat and kitten food, too.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Since 2010, Blindster has sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters to satisfied customers across the country with 20,000 5-star reviews and an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. Custom blinds at low prices and free shipping. Blindster.com.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
News Radio 690 KTSM El Paso.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for having joined us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I am your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so. A lot of ways to interact with the show, even if we are, okay, we got a little bit out of whack there, but we'll still squeeze in a call if we can. Some dropped off, so if the line's available, 915-544-5876544-KTSM. But a couple things to address that have come up over the progress of the show here that, from KRQE and more reporting coming out now from some of our regional news partners as well on the updates when it comes to, and more updates specifically from our news partners at KFOX 14 also on the local situation. The article ever since we've been out there that there was actually a conference Friday to address the growing number of migrants in the Sun City from the city of El Paso, with Mayor Oscar Leeser saying specifically, quote, "Our number one priority is the safety of our community and the safety of our asylum seekers because we don't want them on the streets. We don't want them sleeping out on the streets." And also noting that while there's been hotel and other operations, with the current trajectory of the numbers saying, quote, "At some point we will run out of capacity. We will have to activate the emergency sheltering emergency that is in place, but we're not using it at this point." And saying that there's been an average since August 12th of 100 migrants been put in hotels. But again, the most recent numbers there, as we were talking about earlier, we are well over that at this point. But that has been the average, but more than 700 at this particular point in time. But also when it comes to the New Mexico situation, yes, some reporting, including from KRQE, was mentioned about still primarily affecting Albuquerque when it comes to the actual gun order, though I will note that the actual order from the governor of New Mexico, Michelle Lujan Grisham, is that of restricting the use except for those by law enforcement or licensed security officer or active duty military personnel shall possess a firearm on any parks or playgrounds or other public area provided for children to play in. And then it doesn't actually say Albuquerque in the order. The way that it is listed here, which is interesting to me, is within cities or counties averaging 1,000 or more violent crimes per 100,000 residents per year since 2021, according to Federal Bureau of Investigation's Uniform Crime Reporting Program, and more than 90 firearm-related emergency department visits per 100,000 residents from July 2022 to June 2023, or according to the New Mexico Department of Public Health, except for, again, transportation and in designated areas such as state parks or those owned by New Mexico Energy, Minerals and Natural Resources Department, state parks, or the State Land Office. So I'm going to assume that the way those numbers are crafted, only if I don't have the exact numbers for those from Albuquerque in front of me, but I'm going to assume it's crafted in such a way that that would be just Albuquerque for that order. So that's kind of interest to me. So we'll see. I don't think that order, the way it is really going to affect the content of the cases moving forward. It may affect some of the argumentation that'll be coming up beginning of next month, I think is the expectation there. I think we have time to squeeze in one last quick call. Again, if you do call in the middle of a segment, we do have, they'll ask you to pop up live and give us your name there. So we do have a caller on the line. Last one we'll try to squeeze in for this hour. You're live with Talk El Paso. Who's this? Hello. Heather, you're on the air with Talk El Paso. Yes.
Hi. Listen, first of all, I would like to thank you for everything you do and for bringing a very composed view and balanced view to all the program you do. So it's I'm a first-time caller, but I'm a big fan.
We'll appreciate that. We got about a minute or two here. What's on your mind?
So I wanted to briefly speak about the presentation that was made by our mayor this morning, and I was actually really pleased to hear that he was talking about the security of the citizen. I mean, we have seen nearby Radford School and nearby Confetti a lot of activities around Moorhead School. I did speak to a gentleman in charge of security, What he was coming from Dallas. He was the head of the security there. He was there 2 months ago. So I'm assuming looking at the Moorhead facility. And at the time, what he was describing in other center where the immigrants were processed were a lot of, how would I phrase that diplomatically, a lot of stressful situation, even talking about weapons in some cases. So I think it is important, whichever way the people feel about it, to really focus on the security and understanding the capacity, because there is really a risk for an entire neighborhood to be affected by these policies.
Oh, yeah, certainly. And I mean, with that being looked at, again, the former Moorhead school being one on there was at least one other EPISD school that had been previously used, but I guess the city not looking at that one as much anymore. And I mean, it probably won't be, it might be activated in an emergency circumstance or say as like the Civic Center or other parts of it. But I mean, since we are looking at the difference being for this potential weekend, those community releases as opposed to going to existing organizations is what's driving this specifically. So we'll have to see, and we'll probably have a lot more to talk about that once we get back on air on Monday.
Great. Well, Andrew, thank you for taking my call. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks for the point in the call. You have a good one there. Okay. All right, and with that, we do need to take that last break right now. Coming out of this break, we'll tell you what we got coming up for you, some of the things we're working on for next week and some of this weekend's programming. So stay tuned. More Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Closing out the hour. Stay tuned.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
Slow traffic on both sides of the I-10 eastbound from Vinton to Red and westbound Thorn up past Trans Mountain, 10-minute delays. An accident reported northwestern at Helen of Troy in the Upper Valley, and in the Lower Valley eastbound border highway near the Zaragoza exit. The exit ramp partially blocked there for heavy congestion. Carrie Edwards, El Paso traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
School on! Save on!
Back to school is on, and Staples has great prices on everything you need for your best year yet. Save on headphones and laptops. Save on notebooks, pens, and all the essentials. Priced low and still in stock. And right now at Staples, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comp books are only 50 cents each. Plus, select notebooks are just 35 cents each. School on, save on at Staples, where school savings are always in session. Ends 9/16. In-store only. Limit 30.
Hey, you know what I don't get? Why is that company always telling you to just do what? What is it? To just look like everybody else? Or maybe just pay way too much for your shoes? Well, at Skechers, we know what we want you to do. Just slip in. That's right, just slip in to new hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Why? Because slip-ins are the easiest, most comfortable shoes ever. You don't have to bend down to put them on. You don't even have to touch them. Find slip-ins for the whole family at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Did you know that only 2 in 10 El Paso County students graduate with a bachelor's degree? By supporting Border Youth Athletic Association's mission of educational attainment, you will create a long-lasting impact in our students' lives. Your monthly donation enables 4th through 12th grade students access to after-school programs, providing a safe and healthy environment. BYAA engages and empowers El Paso's future through mentorship and leadership development. We believe every player who gets an education wins. Do you? Go to borderyouth.org and show your support for our youth today.
Life's too short to just live in pain. Visit the Good Feet store today and see how we can help.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for having joined us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I've been your host, Andrew J. Polk. Covered a lot of ground today, and we'll do it again next week, as we do every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Some of the stuff we're working on next week is, we're definitely going to have follow-ups on the border security and immigration situation, particularly how it progressed over this weekend. We'll see how it goes. I've always had the contention that a lot happens over the weekend, and that's why we don't usually have guests on Monday. But, it feels like it's been kind of an overdrive with the last couple of weekends, I do have to say, because stuff in New Mexico also still going on. But other interviews about other things affecting us that we're working on for y'all as well. We'll say we are looking at some week or two of out of office time coming up here at the end of this month, beginning of next. More details when we can, but we are not going to be able to take calls during those times, but we are going to be having those other methods of getting at us, including the pound 250 line and the talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. So if you haven't already downloaded the iHeartRadio app, make sure you have it. Find 690 on there, and you'll be good to go, regardless of what we're doing and what we're up to, including getting at us there. But we'll have to leave it there for today. Oh, coming up this weekend on the El Paso History Radio Show, talking with the OLLI, the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, particularly about their history tours and the way that they formulate it and make it so that it's more accessible to particularly and specifically the 50 and older crowd in and around our region. So tune in for that tomorrow, 10 to noon, here on News Radio 690 KTSM. But we are out of time, so I want to thank everyone that did tune in, call in, comment, participate in the show. We'll do it again Monday, as we do every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. So until then, until next time, I want you all to stay safe out there. Look twice for motorcycles when y'all are out on the road, and have a great evening, y'all, and weekend. We'll see you next week.